Andrew. How you doing, buddy?
Just fine, man.
You ready for the first try, the first experience?
Dude, this is exciting. I like when we do projects together, man.
I do too. I especially like getting there in a nice little roadster convertible.
All right. Where are we going? What are we doing?
We are going to visit our good friend Michael Tatro, the fine owner of Carmichael Vintage Vehicles. We also have a buddy joining us who knows a bunch about cars. He is a little encyclopedia. Good old Travis.
And do you know which cars we're taking today?
We're gonna go check out a 2006 Z4M Coupe. Also gonna check out a 1969 MGB GT. Both beautiful cars. Both have similar body styles, but are from very different eras. Well, we couldn't have picked a better day for a convertible, that's the truth.
Yeah.
You want your seat warmer on?
No, I guess so.
It's like in the summer when you keep the windows down but your air conditioning blasting.
That's convertible living.
Alright, here we are. We're getting closer to the undisclosed secret location of Michael Tatro's warehouse full of cars. It truly is like going to a car museum.
Totally.
It truly is.
Being our first show, this is a great time for sponsors to get in there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Talk about groundbreaking. This is the first one. So if any sponsors out there, people want to throw some money at us, leave a comment.
Just got a text message, a couple of them. That's probably him. Like, where the heck are you guys?
10:08, we're not doing bad.
Fashionably late?
I'm sure that he's one of those guys that 5 minutes ahead of time is on time.
Yeah, it is.
And I kind of fucking agree.
That's usually me too.
Yeah.
Oh, that is Mrs. Warehouse? I did.
Yeah, we should pick up a couple shots of that.
Nobody parks here. I can't get in and out.
All right, so welcome everyone. You know, me and Andrew, the cameraman over here, we made it here safe and sound. Man, you guys are jerks.
We know it.
We have to use grammar, man. Grammar.
It's all part of our deal.
Come on now. But anyways, we made it here to Carmichael Vintage Vehicles here in California, and we're ready to look at some cars. You guys ready to look at some cars? I hope so. Well, this is Travis Holman.
I'm Travis Holman.
And this is Michael Tatro.
Carmichael.
What do we have in front of us here today, guys?
We have a couple of cars.
Yeah, what are they?
So over here we have a 1969 MGB GT. What they call a shooting brake, which is like a mini station wagon. And I thought I'd bring out a comparable modern model, which is this car here, which is a 2006 BMW Z4M Coupe. This particular car is a limited edition 330 horsepower car compared to this 1969 MG at 91 horsepower. So when they're both on the track, they're equal.
All right.
Sort of.
That sounds good.
If this one gets a 50-lap lead, you know, like advantage, this one might just catch it on the 60th.
So it's like golfing.
Golfing?
Yeah.
It's just like golfing.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Okay, well, you know, I mean, these are two really beautiful cars, and it really makes me wonder why Michael Tatro bought these cars.
So the answer to why I bought these cars is growing up in the late 60s and early 70s, these cars were introduced. This particular one in 69 when I was a junior in high school, and it was really a continuation of the beginning of the British invasion, bringing sports cars to America where we didn't have them before. I mean, the only one you could even closely call a sports car would have been a Corvette. But I always wanted the BGT because it's more of a touring car. So if I want to go on a trip or something overnight, a couple days, camping, whatever, I can do it right out of the back of this car. Plus I have two dogs, and they like to ride back there. This car is a whole different story. Somebody told me about how exciting the M-Series coupes were. A friend actually called me and said that he had a friend, a dentist here in town, that was going to be selling his Z3M coupe, which is a predecessor to this. And he just insisted that I buy it until one day he said, look, we're going to be at this restaurant. He's bringing this car. Come and buy this car. I went to the restaurant. I saw the car. I liked it. Yeah, I asked him what he wanted. He told me. I said, yeah, I don't think I want it. He said, drive it. And I drove it. And I was absolutely amazed at the power and torque of the car. So I negotiated a deal and I bought it. I went to a car show about 2 weeks later with it, and there was a gentleman there with one of these, and we were parked next to each other. And he said, you know, I used to have one of those, but I like this one better. It's more comfortable. It's just a really elegant car, where the other one's just a brute. And so I said, can I sit in your car? And he said, yeah. And that night I went on a website called Bring a Trailer and bought this one and flew to Portland, Oregon and drove it back the next day. And I have not regretted that for 1 minute. In fact, I'm on the hunt for more of these because I really believe that this particular car is going to be a massive appreciating collector's car. Very limited production.
Travis over here is incredibly knowledgeable about all kinds of interesting little facts about these cars. So do you have anything that you really like about this car that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, certainly. Just like Michael said, this car is what is referred to as a shooting brake, and shooting brakes are always going to be a two-door design with a big window in the back. Every now and then they'll have a split window, who knows, but it usually comes back to a sweeping hatchback, giving the driver all the space that they need to grab their stuff, slam it in the back, and go for a trip.
You know why shooting brakes were designed?
Road trips?
Hunting.
I'm hunting rabbits. So yeah, just like Michael said, you know, we have the shooting brake, we have the 1969 MGB GT. Now, both of these cars actually share another feature in common. They were originally designed to be convertibles. No top, right? And what's the great advantage of that? Rigidity. These cars, doesn't matter if it has a top or not, you get what's called torsional flex. Convertibles are designed with that in mind, so you know you can still drive them and drive them hard and they're not gonna twist into two pieces. However, when you take a car that was already designed to be stiff without a top and you add a structural portion, that's the roof, all of a sudden you have a car that on the track becomes stiffer, sturdier, firmer, nimbler than what you already had. One interesting tidbit about the MGB GT is the wheels. See these spokes? Anytime that you have a wheel with spokes, you're gonna have an inner tube inside like a motorcycle. You're not gonna find that in a modern car. And as the owner of a car like this, you would have to keep in mind that if you drive too hard, you do run the risk of losing a spoke. So as you're driving around hitting those corners, you'll hear blank, blank, blank. You're not gonna handle very well with your wheel wobbling all over the place. One last feature here, these wheels are what's referred to as knockoffs. Not because they're fakes. You knock this wheel off. You take a tool, big old wrench, it goes right over this nut, and you knock it with a hammer. Boom. Releasing that hub, effectively releasing the whole wheel. It's quick, thus you can go to the racetrack and have a nice replacement in a hurry if you need to without worrying about a bunch of lug nuts. Now if you come over here to the BMW, you have a very similar story here. We have a front engine design, rear wheel drive. Both of these cars are only two-seaters. So you have the driver and a passenger. That's all you need. You don't need kids in the back. You don't need to be touting people around like an Uber. In the back, however, this is where the car gets interesting, because the original Z4, just like the MGB GT, yeah, it was a convertible to begin with. So when BMW executives, back before this car was ever conceived, the Z3 was the predecessor to this car, executives went, you know what, this car is terrific, it does really well on the track, but we want more rigidity. So someone internally went, you know what, we're gonna make a hardtop. So instead of making a traditional hardtop that just encloses the occupants of the vehicle and then leaving a traditional trunk design on the back, they went for a less traditional shooting brake design, allowing you to take your tools, toss them in the back, go to the track, have the day of your life, and then go home and sip a beer and relax. According to the internet, 1,815 cars rolled off the assembly line back in the day, making this a very rare car. Any vehicle where less than 5,000 were produced, less than 2,500 were produced, it's astonishingly rare. It's a niche vehicle. It's something that not everybody is looking for. It doesn't fit into everyone's life. and it also doesn't fit into everyone's budget. So they build few of them, which also adds to the exclusivity of the vehicle. And just like Michael said, in years to come, this car is going to be worth an actual fortune. So for the BMW Z4M Coupe, this engine right here that powers this car is a legend of a mill. This is called an S54. It's a 3.2 liter inline six engine producing 333 horsepower. If you're not sure why that's astonishing, a lot of V8s of this era and before this time and even today have a hard time producing 333 horsepower. Don't get me wrong, now we're in a horsepower war with a lot of these V8s and they are making twice that number, but out of an engine that does not have the aid of any turbochargers, this is not a force-induced engine, 333 horsepower out of completely naturally aspirated with individual throttle bodies. This is one of the most incredible, legendary, performance-oriented engines that BMW has ever produced. And today in 2020, you're not going to find anything like this. Every single car that you're going to find today that especially has any type of performance orientation is going to be force-induced. It's going to have the aid of 1 or 2 turbochargers. In fact, the current BMW Z4 has exactly that, a twin-turbo inline six. The same twin-turbo inline six they put in the new Toyota Supra.
All right, so while these guys are over here talking about how these motors are put together and who made them and all that kind of stuff, let's just go feel what a BMW motor feels like. How do your neighbors feel about donuts?
Oh, they're cool.
Yeah? It's too bad we don't have...
Smells like rubber.
Yeah, smell-o-vision, right?
Yeah, British. This one doesn't have a hood, it's a bonnet. The MGB GT is going to be a completely different story. Right here you're going to see teeny tiny little mill. This little guy is an 1800cc or 1.8 liter inline 4-cylinder. And you'll see right over here to the side, these massive carburetors, which are almost the same size as the engine, they're built by SU and they're side draft carburetor. Their total performance part, however, this car still only produces about 91 horsepower. Where was this car built? Britain. British cars do not have a reputation for reliability per se. In fact, you could even call their reputation for reliability dubious. Thus, you're gonna find yourself in this exact situation quite often with the bonnet up like this. Luckily, there's lots of room in here to wrench around. You can easily access everything. You're not dealing with modern computers and chips and sensors. All you're dealing with is analog bits and terrible wiring.
So we've talked about the cars, we've talked about why he's purchased them, we've talked about some of the features of the cars. Now let's go ahead and maybe hear it run. You guys want to hear it run? Let's see what these things sound like.
So you say this is one of your favorite driving cars?
Yeah.
Says a lot. You have a lot of cars.
This thing handles phenomenally well and it's super powerful. And it makes the best sound of any car I have.
If there was one car that you have in your collection that you would say is a close comparison to this in driving pleasure, what would that car be?
I've got an Aston Martin V12 and then my Porsche Carrera 4S.
V12 versus inline six. It's almost
You'd be surprised.
twice the engine.
You'd be surprised.
Yes. Oh, and the exhaust sounds great too.
That's a shout out for Muffler Man, Franklin Boulevard, Sacramento. Best exhaust shop in Sacramento.
I second that. Every time. Oh, you gotta love that acceleration. It almost feels like a turbo engaging when you get that instant thrust. Oh, but you get it. It's linear too. You don't have to wait for it. MG time. Ooh. Much tighter confines than the
Yeah.
BMW.
But still comfortable.
And we have lap belts.
Yes.
Like an airplane.
Yeah. And you know how much good they do people in airplanes.
Yeah. They usually. What is the seatbelt success rate in plane crashes?
Exactly.
Obviously, we don't have the amenities of power windows. We don't have the sport bolstered seats in this guy, just old-fashioned vinyl.
And we don't have 330 horsepower. But I do like the big banjo wheel.
I like that too.
Made of Bakelite, so it has a nice feel to it. Essentially, this MGB motor is a reincarnation of a Model A, other than the fact that a Model A is flathead.
Really?
The design is very similar. This is a really fun car to drive.
I bet. It's light. I bet this car probably weighs 2,000 pounds or less.
And one of the other advantages of a coupe versus a roadster, when it comes to racing, is aerodynamics.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, reduces drag.
That's the same reason why your Peter Brock Shelby coupe even exists.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Don't need this. Got that there. All right. Definitely a different game, different ball game than the BMW.
Oh yeah, way different.
But the fun factor, it's hard to gauge the fun factor because you don't need 333 horsepower to have fun.
Nope, there's a goofball in the rear view mirror.
Definitely a little car. Teeny car.
We did it. Well, that might be the wrap up of our first little episode here. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let us know if you want to see more of it. And if you also saw any cars around here that you'd like to see an episode about, give us a shout out. Let us know what we should do next.
Peace out.
Thanks for watching, Travis.
Michael.
We'll see you next time.
And I'm Rene, but we all know that.
Mosquito.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Out of here.
Nicely done, sir.
Yeah, starts right up.